Hello and welcome to We Are Brooklyn Park. I'm Jay Strobel, your host, the city manager here in Brooklyn Park. Our guest today is Geno Okok. Geno is a local artist with artwork all around the state of Minnesota and beyond. He's an independent artist who was commissioned most recently to create the murals at the temporary Park Plaza at 85th and West Broadway. This site is envisioned to be a space that promotes artistic engagement and community activities, and we hope it will pave the way for a future stop on the Metro Blue Line light rail extension and also be home to the Center for Innovation in the Arts. Welcome, Geno.
Hey, Jay, thank you. Thanks for having me.
We have a lot to get into today, Geno. I'd love to just start with, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be engaged in the arts.
So I've started, painting. I started sketching from elementary school. It originally started because I saw my older brother, he was drawing and stuff. So I was like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool and stuff. So I always, I was the younger brother that always tried to copy his older brother and stuff. So I'm like, hey, I bet I could do something like that too. Then I started doing it, and it became fun, and started doing it through school, through elementary school, junior high. I started doing it a lot more than I was paying attention in class and stuff. So and then by the time I got to college and stuff, I wasn't sure what I wanted to go into, but I'm like, you know what, I do enjoy doing art, so let me just take some art classes begin with, and then maybe with time I'll figure out what I want to do.
So, and you are a true Brooklyn Park kid, right? I mean, you grew up, went to Crestview, you went to Northview, went to Osseo High School, went to Northampton Community College. Tell us about your experience growing up in Brooklyn Park.
Man, Brooklyn Park is fun, man. It's like I feel as I know every corner of Brooklyn Park because I pretty much walked or biked around and stuff. So Brooklyn Park has been home. It feels like I feel comfortable. I feel like I belong here. Like I see people that look like me all the time and stuff. So I'm pretty comfortable. It's been pretty good.
Is there any specific memory from when you were growing up in terms of art that really there was a moment that really sparked you, or other than your brother, that you really thought, well, maybe I'd like to pursue this?
Yeah, I got a lot of encouragement from my art teachers. I remember there was an art teacher, Mrs. Pam. I'm surprised I remember her name. So she was always encouraging and stuff. So my art teachers were always encouraging and stuff. So when you get encouragement, it makes you feel good, especially like being a kid and stuff. And then you pretty much want to work harder at it and stuff because you've been acknowledged. One of the things, because I remember in class I wasn't paying as much attention in certain classes and stuff, so I would just be drawing on a piece of paper, and then during the conference, my teacher would tell my mom hey, he's a pretty good artist, but he doesn't pay attention or he doesn't do he doesn't try to do his math homework or his English work or so. He just draws all the time. So they're so they pretty much say you could do art but focus on your classes as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really nice to have those mentors or there's inspirational teachers that help you regardless of the subject you're interested in. But that's cool you had some growing up. When you were growing up, what artists sort of inspired you back then, and what artists inspire you now? What kind of artists do you really appreciate what they've done or what they're doing?
Yeah, growing up I liked Michelangelo because he was more realistic. So he drew body parts, the human structure, so his style really stood out to me because they were more realistic. So that's where I moved more towards or so. And then later I started looking at Picasso as in terms of mainly the colors of how he does his coloring and stuff. So his style of humans or so weren't necessarily my favorite because I was more towards Michelangelo, but I like the way he he mixes colors and just pop up colors and stuff. So in a way, I think those were my inspirations subconsciously. I didn't think much of it, until like recent. And then as of now, there's a lot of artists, especially doing like social media and Instagram and everything and stuff. So it's really hard to pick, like in terms of modern art. But there's an artist called Monopoly. So he does more of a cartoon, and he has the colors theme down. And then there's a other female artist called, she calls herself the pretty artist. So she's more realistic. So in a way, I guess as I got older, I still went back to styles similar to Michelangelo and Picasso. So those are pretty much my favorite artists right now. And then and then there's been maybe certain friends or so that I admire their work as well.
Right. Yeah. I know that for the temporary park plaza art, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute, one of the other artists was somebody else from Brooklyn Park that was a friend of yours too, that helped create the robot artwork as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to share anything about your friend?
Yeah, Nicholas. Yeah, Nicholas is a really cool guy. We met through Springboard for the Arts. We had a project for the light rail Baton Noon in Crystal, and we also had one in Brooklyn Park. So he's known as the robot guy, because he has this giant robot costume, and he has this 70s 80s disco stage that he takes with him everywhere he goes and stuff. So he just has the stage and has this robot costume, and just the colors and everything, it just looks real cool and stuff. So we vibe pretty well. So yeah, he created the robot in at the plaza in Brooklyn Park and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. When I saw that, I was amazed.
Yeah, and my understanding about Nicholas is that was actually inspired by a playground set at Central Park that he used to play on when he was growing up here in the community. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
So what words of wisdom would you have for aspiring artists, or a kid that's out there and trying to figure out, do I want to make art a profession? Do I want to focus on art as a career, or just as a passion maybe?
Yeah. So far the game has changed from how art used to be, because growing up at first, I was the advice I got was, don't go into art or so, because you won't make money, and artists usually make their money after they've died and stuff. So that notion is gone now and stuff, because now modern and art and old school and everything, they're all joining together and all combining and stuff. So now art is becoming much bigger than it ever was, and I think it's going to even be bigger in the next couple of years. So my thing is and do what you enjoy doing, or so follow what you enjoy doing. When you're good at it and stuff, people would notice, and then just pursue it. Your art doesn't have to be the best or the most realistic and stuff. Is the vibe, and is how you market yourself.
There's just any variation of art you can imagine out there today, and people are inspired by different things. So I really connect with what you're saying there. I've also heard you talk about a lot about the importance of art for society. Talk about the value of art for society, and why, for thousands of years, hundreds of years, there's been art. But why do you think today that maybe art's even more important for society?
Yeah, so I actually like that question, because when I get asked, a question like that or similar, my response is always art is literally everything. So from the pen you're holding right now, to the chair you're sitting on, to this room we're having this interview, everything was drawn out first before it was made. So every single thing you can think of is art. Your car, your wristwatch, your shoes and stuff, it was all an artist designed it before it was manufactured. So and then one of my favorite, I think it was an image I saw or so. It says it's spelled earth, and then it says if you like is Earth without art is just eh. So so I was like, wow. So there's literally the word art in in Earth. So if you take out Earth and stuff, it's just eh. So I was like, oh, you know what? I really like that. So that's my answer to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you are, that is absolutely right. At one time when I was growing up, I wanted to be an architect. And like you're saying, everything starts out with a sketch, whatever it might be, trying to figure out, conceptualize something, what does that sketch turn out to be? Many people may not know this, but you have been involved in a few other art projects in Brooklyn Park as well before. As we were preparing for the podcast today, we were talking about some of the street art that you did with the drain, to sort of communicate the importance of, hey, be careful of kind of what you're flushing down the drain or whatever. You want to talk a little bit about that project?
Yeah, that project was brought to my attention by Kim Carpenter. So she was working with the Brooklyn Park officials, and it was about for us to be mindful of what of how we throw our trash, or mainly our leaves during the fall and stuff, not to go into the drains and stuff, and then affect the animals. I mean the animals and the the fish and stuff, and with the river and stuff. So that actually so that was the story behind it. And then also from that, we got another opportunity from Fresh Watershed. They're an organization in St. Paul. So I'm actually partnered with them, and I'm creating my next storm drain through them as well by probably like end of the month or beginning of next month. So it's actually been really good. I've seen a couple of states that are following that same method and that same idea of creating like storm drain and like storm drain signs. So like the last one I saw, Fargo had one like a couple of months ago, and right now there's a call for art in Iowa that has the same exact call for storm drain mural.
Storm drain. Yeah. Well, and we obviously our eastern border is the Mississippi River, and so I think the fact, and Kim Carpenter is a resident who was on the Parks and Rec Commission, so I know that was probably some of that connection there with Kim. But yeah, being on the Mississippi River's on the east border, I know that we're doing a variety of things to take some precautions for, we're redoing River Park. There's a big other projects going on up there to try to make sure that whatever is going through the storm drain sort of does as minimal impact on the river as possible. You had also, one of the things that I was so impressed that you've done, and I know that most people aren't aware of this, is that you created an art piece for our firefighters here in Brooklyn Park. And my understanding is that they didn't ask you,
No.
Right? I mean, that this was not a commissioned piece, but you created a piece, and it's over in Central Fire Station, and it's a huge piece of art. I mean, it's incredible. So what inspired you to do that for the firefighters? Tell us a little bit about that project.
That came more around, when we started thinking more about our everyday heroes and stuff. Usually what heroes usually are the superheroes, the Batman, the Spider-Man and stuff. But those are movies, those are cartoons. They're pretty entertaining and stuff. But now it comes down to our the real heroes, and so those include our firefighters, police, doctors, nurses and stuff. So I know like around the city I see a lot of like the fire truck just going back and forth or so I'm like, what, these guys just do a lot of work and stuff. They're helping houses like before they catch on fire or before they burn down and stuff. So I'm like, we need to appreciate them now and stuff, because we don't necessarily, for example, for me, I'm like, well, I haven't, my house hasn't caught a fire or whatever, but I don't need it to catch on fire before I appreciate the fire department for what they do. Right. So that was more of where that was coming from.
yeah, it was phenomenal for you to do that and to recognize them. You know, they are firefighters or police officers or other first responders. They do get, you know, a lot of love from the community, and especially during COVID when there's the extra pressure on our first responders. So that was great that you chose to do that. So thank you for that on behalf of the firefighters. You also, I understand, just received a new grant from the Knight Foundation to do some art as well that we were chatting about a little bit earlier. So talk a little bit about that project that you've got coming up.
Yeah, so the Knight Foundation made, there was a call for artists, you know, around the country, and they were funding 2 artists per state. I applied for it. I didn't get it. I wasn't part of the 2 that got it, but then they liked my idea, so they created a separate like grant for me, so I could still bring my idea into fruition and stuff. So I was like, yeah, you guys literally just made a whole new grant for me and stuff, because like that wasn't part of, you know, what the whole process was and stuff. And then the idea behind it was showing more of the positivity of like interrace. Also, not as in terms of like, you know, black and white like having like playing together and stuff, because like the way things are going and stuff, like people are trying to make it like, oh, this is like a race thing or something. Like, no, this is more of a system thing that's going on right now. So that has nothing to do with, you know, I mean, there may be some race stuff in it, but it seems as though the media is trying to like move it towards a race thing. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. This is a systematic situation that we're going through right now.
So the Knight Foundation, so where's that future?
That's in St. Paul.
That'll be in St. Paul.
Yeah, that'll be in St. Paul around Frogtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're still getting some locations together, because probably would do 2 locations. So we're getting some, so we're finalizing some locations and stuff, but yeah, that's what's gonna be.
So I know in Brooklyn Park you've become very popular, but have you noticed yourself more people having awareness of your artwork and the stuff you're doing?
To a certain extent, kinda, because before I got the phone call from McKnight, I had a friend that was around the borders. I mean, that was in the meeting, called me up and say like, hey, sorry, not McKnight, Knight Foundation. She called and said, hey, Knight Foundation might email you and, you know, say that, you know, they want you to do something, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, because she said she was at the meeting, and they asked her if she knew who I was or so. So she was like, you know, she's somebody I worked with, especially when we were doing the George Floyd mural in St. Paul and stuff. So that was the first time I met her. I just met her this year. Yeah. And then but we kept in contact and stuff. So that was kind of how that came along. But I think so. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think is. I mean, I see some comments of someone who would tag my name and say, this is the artist I was talking about. And I wasn't part of the conversation. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's, you know, good.
You were obviously instrumental in being involved and being commissioned for the mural down at the new temporary park plaza, and which is just across the street from North Hennepin Community College, just south of the library. It's actually on college property. And as part of that, you were involved in engaging with the local youth at Zanewood Recreation Center to be part of that project. So what was it like working with the youth?
Yeah, the youths, man, they have big minds. They have big dreams. So they see what's going on. They know what's going on and stuff. So, you know, we may think like, you know, what's going on with our country right now is more of is an adult thing and stuff. Now they know what's going on and everything. So, and the youths there, for the mural, they wanted to see, you know, Brooklyn Park in a something that reflected, you know, who they are as well. That reflected, you know, positivity, unity, diversity. So these are some of the words they wanted. They also wanted, like, you know, music. They wanted like a graffiti style of artwork or so. So I added all that into this mural. Yeah.
And then you were telling me before about the importance of kind of youth of that age. like when you were growing up? You want to share a little bit more about why you tend to focus on kind of youth of a certain age?
Yeah. So I the mural, when you see them, they're usually like youths at probably from the age of like between 6 and maybe like 10 or so. So I chose those age because as for me personally, like growing up, like I didn't know I was black until I got to a certain age, and then I realized that, oh, okay, I guess I have a skin tone. I mean a different skin color or so. But the reason I said that is because with kids, when they're growing up, they don't necessarily notice like someone by their skin tone, or by the color of their skin or anything. They more judge a person by their character. They'll look at like your shirt, your shoes, your pants, or whatever, but not necessarily like, okay, I think this person is a different race from who I am. They haven't gotten to that point yet to start thinking of stuff like that. So I stay with those type of youths to paint because of that innocence, and that. So it's almost like, because we were once them. So it's almost like, where do we go wrong? Because growing up, we were all like, everyone like was just, we judged everybody by their character, not by their appearance.
Yeah, it's a really good reflection on the power of youth and kind of that kind of their mindset, and wondering kind of at times what changes in us and stuff. So you also, I believe, incorporated one or two of your family members was actually in one of the murals there. Is that right? And what did they think about that? Did they like that?
Oh yeah. I have my little nephew in one of in one of the images, and yeah, he really loved it and stuff. Like he thinks he's a celebrity now. Like, I don't know. So yeah, so I had him, and then I also had a friend of mine. I had her daughter in the mural as well. So the reason I did that is because it's makes it's I mean, you have more connection with community faces, and with faces with people in the community, compared to just like random faces and stuff. There's more of a connection towards the art piece. So that's why I put like familiar faces, like images of the community and stuff in it.
I'm sure that first time they saw that, did you tell them before you showed them the art piece that they were going to be in it, or was it a surprise?
No, it was a surprise. It was it was a surprise, and I knew they would like it and stuff. Everyone has been they've been asking me to create an image of a painting of them and stuff. So with my schedule, I'm like, I can't paint everybody. So but with this situation and stuff, I told her that to send me his photo, and he had an idea I might do something, but he wasn't sure. He was like, sure, here you go and stuff. So he sent me the photo, and then and then also the same thing as my friend in St. Paul, because I painted her daughter in the image and stuff, and she too was surprised. She was like, oh, like she definitely has to make it all the way from St. Paul to Brooklyn Park to come and take a look at the mural.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's that mural of the youth. That's really, really cool. So you're branching off into different mediums of art as well.
Yeah.
So I understand you're starting to get into music videos. So I'd love to hear like all different kind of the branches of art that you like to do, and some of the things you're exploring. And
yeah.
So share with us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I've been a little bit into music videos. I think I'm going into my second year now. So like as an artist, I have a lot of like ideas in my head. I have a lot of vision in my head. So I'm like, so I try to, so in the music video, I try to create some of like what I have in my head, or what's going on in mind or so, and try to bring it into reality, so black people can see, compared to me trying to explain it. So and so it's more of and then it's pretty like positive, good vibe, high quality, so that's more of what I go into and stuff, depending on the musician. So like I think pretty soon I might actually shoot one of the scenes at the mural, coming up.
some of the video, the music video.
Yeah. One of the music video, one of the scenes or so. So I have a friend. She dances and she has a team of dancers or so, a very diverse group that they go into from Afrobeat dance to like hip hop. Told her about it and stuff, and then so we're planning to shoot that scene at the mural. Probably sometime in September, ending of September. That's when we're gonna do it.
Well, that's really cool. So you're sort of incorporating a couple, the mural as your art, but then also the music video as your art as well.
Yeah.
So it's all Geno all the time for that.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to do a brand name and stuff. There's as you asked earlier, one of my favorite artists and stuff. There's this artist. He's called his Koba. He's he did the mural in Minneapolis, the one on Nicollet Avenue.
Yeah.
What was that? What was his name?
Is it the Bob Dylan one?
Yeah, Bob Dylan. Yeah, he
that
did
huge
that.
one.
Yeah,
really?
that huge one. Yeah, it's him. So I didn't even know. Yeah, so because like I was following. The thing is, I didn't even know when he did that. It's because like I was, I was following him on on Facebook or so, and then I saw the area because like when you in Minnesota, almost every spot. So I'm like, wait, this was in Minnesota. Like when he was here. Yeah. So yeah, no, he's a really big artist. He's like internationally known, like that kind of big and stuff. He's from Brazil. So so like I like the way he brands himself or so. So like everything is his name. He has his team has his name on their t-shirts or so. So I'm more leaning more towards that way of branding myself.
Yeah. So it's Geno for
Geno for art.
Geno for art.
Yeah.
So if people want to connect with you or look at some of your artwork, how do they find you? What kind of information can you share that people can find your stuff?
Yeah, so for the most part right now, everyone can find me on social media. So that is the Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. That's at Geno 4 Art, so Geno, the number 4, and art. My website is coming soon. My website needed some updating because like all the work I did was like kind of when I started. So I'm like just having my web designer to redesign it, and like I keep adding everything that has been all the new artwork I've been doing, and to just have a whole different experience. So but when the website is open, you can still find me at Geno for art.
Got it. And how do like that Bob Dylan piece or the big murals that you've done, what's your process for just starting something like that in terms of what are you spraying first or drawing first on the project? How does that kind of work out?
Yeah. So for big projects, I usually would have to do like a design first. Like I have to sketch out a design on my iPad or just a sheet of paper or so. And then because like I'm not gonna try to freestyle a mural that big. I'm gonna waste a lot of paints. Yeah. So so the process is like there's the background color, which I use exterior paint and stuff. So I use rollers and everything or so. Then I get like a chalk and I sketch out the image of what it's gonna be. Yeah. And then I go with a spray paint, and then I do more of the outline. So spray paint makes the outline more permanent because the chalk is in case I make any mistake and stuff. I can just wipe it off. So then after that, then I use the spray paint to make it more permanent in case it rains. So I don't lose any of what I've done. And then I start going in it with details and just start going by piece by piece, spray paint and paintbrush. So I use a combination of both.
Got it. I'm just in such envy of artists that have that mind to be able to sort of do that process that you just described.
Yeah,
a few folks in my life that are good at art. I'm not one of them. So It's a skill that's pretty incredible when you see play out like that.
Yeah, I learned myself actually. I wasn't that I didn't start up that way. I was being like canvases and just paint brushes and stuff. So you kind of get out of your elements and stuff, because also with spray paints, you gotta pay attention to the wind as well, because the wind can can be for you or against you.
Oh yeah.
So the wind, and depending on the type of surface. So actually this mural on this storm drain that was actually more challenging than a flat surface, because the storm drain has like ripples on it. So as I spray paint, sometimes the air blows it and it gets trapped in some of the ripples. So I'll have to like paint over it again. So yeah, but with flat surface, you don't have to worry about your paint being trapped in any holes in the walls or anything like that. So yeah, so like now I think like when I do anything else, it'll be much easier because I just did something difficult.
Yeah, no, without question. I believe I've seen on one of the Brooklyn Park websites that you've also done some artworks for individuals too, as like a gift or something. Mm-hmm. So do you do a combination of sort of art design for the public and then also art design for individuals that sort of want to give something to a friend or a loved one? Yeah.
Actually, I started off with individual art because that was where that was how I got my first commission. Because so when I got my first commission, it was this person kept asking you like, hey, can you because I started drawing and then posting it on Facebook and stuff, and I started getting like a lot of more likes than I usually get from photos. So then the person like reached out to me, and they were like, hey, can you paint something for me or so? But then they weren't the first person that have reached out. So I've gotten a lot of people and I follow up, but then they don't usually follow up. So she was like, so I was like, you know what? If you get the supplies and everything else, whatever, I'll do it for you for free. Cause I'm like, cause I wasn't expecting her to even like, follow up, whatever. And then she called me and she was like, okay, I'm at the store. What should I buy? I'm like, oh, you're serious? I was like, okay, okay. So I'm like, okay, wait, hang on. I'm gonna come meet you. What location are you at and stuff? So, we got the supplies and everything. Then I was like, all right. So, within probably like 3 days or 4 days or whatever, I was like, oh, here you go, here's your art piece and stuff. And she loved it, and she was like, you know what, I can't get this for you for free or whatever, like let me pay you something. So she paid me like I think she paid me like $250 at the time. So for me, I was like, wow, this first time I got $250 without like my standard job. I'm like, okay, this might be something to to look into and stuff. So then and then she posted it and stuff, and then a lot of her friends liked it, and then so it started picking up from there. That was kind of where it started.
Yeah, well, that's a cool story how that sort of happened. So one of the other projects I know that you're working on, that you're on sort of the advisory board for, is the Center for Innovation at the Arts at Northampton Community College. It would actually be essentially where that temporary park plaza is. That would be envisioned to be a sort of a future plaza that would be more permanent in nature, but it would be essentially on the front door of the Center for Innovation and the Arts.
Yeah.
What would a facility like that mean for artists like yourself, for students, for the youth of the community, the adults in the community in Brooklyn Park? Talk to us about kind of how you can imagine that if that dream became a reality, what that would mean for Brooklyn Park.
Oh man, that would mean a game changer. That you guys, like, Hollywood is gonna come to Brooklyn Park when that's done, I think, because there's so much talent. There's a lot of artists, and not just visual artists, musical artists, like in every form, dancers, that are in this area, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, but they end up going to Minneapolis and St. Paul because there's nothing around here. So when if we like, I'm gonna say when, because I'm not gonna say if, because I'm gonna speak it into reality and stuff. So I'm like, when we end up creating something like that, like an art center, like I just realized it's gonna change everything and stuff. So because there are a lot of artists here around the city and stuff, and because that was kind of because when I started painting, I was in St. Paul and Minneapolis, because I was like, Brooklyn Park doesn't, because the area I had didn't have any, art stuff, or at least not that I know of. So then, with time I was just like, let me talk to somebody and see, if they're interested, because like I can't just like ask a question and answer my own questions, So let me just go to to someone and find out, if they could possibly create something. So yeah, no, our art center would be so cool. Like a lot of people would appreciate it. Even for example, this mural. I'm gonna go back to the mural again. When I was creating it, a lot of people that stopped by were not. I mean, there were a lot of people from Brooklyn Park, because I felt like I met pretty much half of Brooklyn Park when I was making that mural. But a lot of people came from Blaine and Maple Grove.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. There was a lot of them, because I was and then like we have a conversation, and I like ask, hey, where are you from? And so they're like, I'm coming from Blaine. I'm coming from Maple Grove. I'm like, wow, So yeah, this is gonna be a game changer when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is for that to be a hub and a resource, not only for Brooklyn Park, but for the Northwest Metro, for the North Metro, and I'm with you. I mean, we're all in on trying to make that reality. And I'm excited about the new president at North Hennepin Community College, Dr. Garcia. I know he's 100% on board and is excited to make that happen. So it's great that you're part of the team, Geno, to do that. Well, I just really appreciate the opportunity for you to be on the podcast today, and for you to share a little bit more about yourself and your love of Brooklyn Park and kind of the art scene here. It sounds like that there's a lot of art to be offered in Brooklyn Park, and we just need to help get some artists like yourself out and try to figure out how to best showcase that talent in Brooklyn Park.
Yeah, Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. Brooklyn Center has been reaching out. I mean, the residents of Brooklyn Center have actually been more in some way, not is like more of a fan of this mural and stuff like that. Well, I won't say more of a fan, because they want something like this in Brooklyn Center as well. So Brooklyn Center has been like they're trying to, a lot of them have inboxed me. Hey, is it like asking like, hey, when is something like this gonna happen in Brooklyn Center? Who, for me, I'm like, I don't know who to talk to to Brooklyn to have something like in Brooklyn Center and stuff. But yeah, so that's all I can say right now.
Well, I'll reach out to a few of my contacts down there and let them know that, hey, your residents are interested in Geno doing something for the community. So
yeah.
Well, I just want to thank again our guest, Geno Okok. We also want to thank our Zanewood youth for producing the opening music of this podcast. You can listen to the latest episodes of We Are Brooklyn Park on our YouTube channel or online at www.brooklynpark.org/podcast. Thanks, Geno.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Take care.